Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Sam and I'm so happy to see you here today. Today, we're doing a haul and it is large and I haven't counted, but I will probably put in the title or something because it's gonna be big. I think that was blurry, so I'm sorry, but we're not gonna record. We're just not. Partly because I only have a little bit of time today to film. So this is actually probably going to be filmed across 2 days. So if I change outfits in the middle, that's why. I've been really busy lately and I've been really stressed lately. And I'm aware that the camera is also crooked. Well, let me try to fix that. Hopefully that's better. Hopefully that's better. We are sitting here in front of this shelf because this is the easiest shelf to film in front of. And I'm on the ground because it's kind of going to be a chill video. I'm going to try to go fairly quickly through the books because there are so many. Like I said, I had very little self-control this past season. I do them seasonally, so this would have been, it was since my last one, but that would have been February 14th until this week and today, which is May 19th. So this is my spring-ish book haul. I think one of the reasons I had so little self-control was, one, I've been coming in under budget and been doing really well with money-wise, and two, I've just felt not great a lot of times, so I buy books to fill that hole in my heart. Let's get into it. Okay, my first pile of things, and I'm kind of organizing this haul, this video on like bookcase just to make cleanup easier for me. If you saw my classics video, I'm doing it similarly. Also, I'm sorry, I'm gonna try not to move. This is a very squeaky spot right below me, but let's start. So the first, this is actually like not going to be the order I bought them in, so like heads up about that. But first off, we have The Finnish Way. This is a non-fiction type self-help book that is just sort of like aspects of Finnish culture and lifestyle and how to like implement them in your own life. I did start reading it. I would like to go back to it. I don't read a lot of these books, but I thought it'd be interesting because I was really like in the midst of a Moomin rewatch, and I was like, I want to see what sort of like the Finnish mindset might be applicable to my own life and help me out. And one thing that I have taken from it so far is exercising more, which I know is not like specifically a Finnish thing, but the book talked about how it would be in between doing like other things, like you lose motivation and you go for like a little jog or something. I'm like, I like that, and I've actually started doing that and I have found it helpful, but I haven't read very much of this one. And it's not going to be like a book that I ever just like sit down and read because I just don't do that with nonfiction like this. Next up, we have 2 copies of Roll of Wolves. This one's naked. It's just the regular, and then this is the Barnes & Noble edition, which is slightly taller and which drives me absolutely crazy, but at least it matches my King of Scars, which is also the taller version, which I hate, but you know. Haven't read this yet. Don't know when I'm going to read the Nikolai duology because I've heard such mixed things that I'm like, I don't know when I want to get to it. Speaking of like Leigh Bardugo though, I did finally get my hands on the collector's edition of Six of Crows. I've had the collector's edition of Crooked Kingdom for a long time, and I got the Shadow and Bone collector's edition that matches earlier this year when it came out. So yes, finally have this, and it's so pretty. It's gorgeous. I love it so much. Oh, so pretty. I'm surprised these editions haven't like gone out of print yet because they've been around for a while. Then we have 2 more collector's editions. We have the Illumicrate hardcover editions of the 10th anniversary, Days of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters, and these are incredibly stunning. They're even more beautiful in person. I'm in love. I do really want to reread this series because it's been about 10 years since I've read them and I just want to relive it. And anyway, I keep these all faced out on my shelf and I just like stare at them like every night, and they just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I got like 5 copies of Chain of Iron. So most of them are way too high and I didn't bring a chair in, and since I'm already planning to film this over course like 2 days, I don't feel bad being like, okay, I'll see the footage of them later because I will show them off because they're gorgeous. But Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, I read this already. Of course I did. I read it almost as soon as it came out. There is a reading vlog for it. I will link here and down below, but it was so good. It was really, really good. In some ways, I think it was better than the first one in the series, but in other ways, I think it like faltered, but brilliant. Just so good. I can't wait for book 3. The wait's gonna kill me. It's a happy death. I die happy. Nearly forgot to film this portion, which is the other 4 editions of Chain of Iron that I picked up this season. And we're going to start off with the Illumicrate edition of Chain of Iron. It is lovely. It does have yellow stained pages, which I'm not a huge fan of. The Chain of Gold had orange. I don't know what's going on with that design choices. It has a quote on the spine that says, "Secrets consume even the truest love," which is just Yeah, and it's got, you know, yellow end pages as well. I don't think there's anything else particularly special about these outside of that, so that's pretty neat. Then we have Fairy Loot edition. I will say, of all the editions, I think Fairy Loots is the one kicking the most ass and taking the most names, and so that is this edition. We've got the locket on the cover, and these stained edges are just divine. And then the quote on the back is the same one on the Illumicrate spine. Chain of Iron. And then the end pages are also yellow. Then we have the Waterstones edition. That is this lovely green with all the moths. It has the description on the back. No staining on the edges, but still very lovely. And yes, also those yellow end pages. I don't know why I'm showing off the end pages. I just feel like it. And then finally, and this was the hardest one to get a hold of, actually contacted a member of my mom's family. And was like, hey, is it possible that you could be like the go-between? And it was very nice. They were willing to do so. And that is the Thane edition of this book. We have Cordelia's silhouette, and then we have James on the back. And yes, these match the ones that actually appear in the book. And really, it's just a special dust jacket that goes on the outside of the regular first edition UK hardcover. But these were not shipping out of the UK. So yeah, I had to use a go-between. And it was totally worth it because it is absolutely stunning. And I look at it all the time. But those are my four exclusive Chain of Iron editions that I hauled this season. Yes, there were a lot. Yes, I have a problem. No, I don't really care about this problem. Then we have some arcs. So I'm really excited for all of these. Some of them I got sent from the publisher. Some of them I picked up from work. First of all is For the Wolf by Hannah Witton. This one comes out in June 15th. I'm really excited for this one. I don't think I'm going to get to it ahead of time just because of like how little time I've had to read lately, but I will definitely be reading all of these arcs. Like, they're high on my list, and if I love them, I will definitely be buying finished copies as well. But yes, For the Wolf by Hannah Witton. I think it's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, but it's got a lot of early hype. It's got a lot of early hype, and I'm excited for this one. I am probably, of all the arcs, this is the one I'm most excited for, but that is the Black Tongue Thief by Christopher Bulman. This actually just came out. I haven't had a chance to read it yet because, like I said, very little time to read. I've heard it's really witty and funny. I think it's about like an assassin. I think it's grimdark. Also, just adore this cover. Just absolutely great cover. Can't wait. This is gonna be really soon. I'm reading that very, very soon. And then this one I actually just picked up from work yesterday. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This one is another super anticipated one, and I think it's appearing in at least one book box. It's like Mulan meets Song of Achilles. I've seen a lot of early hype, but a lot of mixed reviews. I am excited to read it for myself, but I'm gonna go in a little wary of this one. This is one I just was hoping for, but did not actually think I'd get. And that is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. I don't know why I'm so excited for this one. I'm super excited. It's sapphic. It's fantasy. This cover is stunning. I can't wait to read this one. Okay, this one comes out next month as well on the 8th. And then one that I'm actually currently reading right now and had to put down temporarily to pick something else up is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This was another one I really didn't think I was going to receive, but I'm so very happy I did. I am really enjoying it. I'm not super far. Yes, this book is out, and I'm already loving it enough that I'm desperately trying to get my hands on a hardcover copy. Speaking of books that I'm reading, though, Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stiefvater. The dust jacket is off because I'm currently reading it. I'm so close. It is so good. This book is... it's perfect. I don't say that a lot about books, but it's perfect. Okay? It hasn't ended yet, but it's perfect. And then the last up from like books from like this bookcase, I'm gonna go and grab those. So it's definitely not the last books in this book haul, but the last books on this bookcase are actually some manga. And I don't read a lot of manga. It's not my go-to genre. No, that's not right. It's not my go-to format because they can be so long, and I love long series, but manga is really quick and easy for me to read, and then it's like really long, so it's quite an investment. At this point, there's only like one series that I do keep up on regularly, and even that's kind of fallen off, so I need to jump back on that, and that's Noragami. But this series has been really hard to get hold of. It's just been out of print for a long time because manga, or not like out of print, but just like a hard time printing for a long time because manga right now is having a resurgence, and just the really popular series are hard to get your hands on. It was like staring at me, and then it was like impossible to get hands on, and I was like, you know what, I think I would like it, and I finally picked it up, and that is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun volumes 1 and 2. I'm really excited. I haven't read this yet. As soon as I finish Mr. Impossible and then one other book that I need to read really quick because I told someone they could borrow it, as soon as I finish those two, I will be reading these. It'll probably take me like a day to read them both. So yeah, I'm excited to read some more manga. It's, like I said, been ages. It's gonna be nice to return to that sort of reading, and hopefully I'll be able to add more manga into my like regular reading because I do enjoy the stories. It just really is a lot of an investment for me. Okay, so next we're gonna do my little like Sarah J Maas pile because it's a lot just of her stuff. Basically, I ended up getting the new hardcover editions of the Court of Thorns and Roses series because I got the Illumicrate dust jackets. So this is them. This is the Court of Thorns and Roses, and like the camera doesn't do them justice. Like, it's gorgeous. I keep them all face out on my shelf just because of how pretty they are. Like, I love them so very much. Court of Mist and Fury. Court of Wings and Ruin. These are like perfect dust jackets. These encapsulate the series in a way that like the originals and the new ones do not. Court of Frost and Starlight. I think this might be my favorite cover just because of all the colors. Like the other ones are they're all really nice, but this one pops. And then of course I did get a Court of Silver Flames, which you all know how I feel about this book, but this dust jacket is very pretty. I did also get the collector's edition of A Court of Silver Flames because I wasn't gonna pass this up. Like, are you kidding? No. Yeah, I needed it. I needed it. Speaking of collector's editions though, I also, and oh my god, these, I was so excited when they announced these, and I jumped on these so fast because I have been waiting for a matching set to come out forever because the covers either don't match or it'll be a mix of paperback and hardcover. So I was like waiting for the last one to be paperback. I was like, that's how I'm gonna get it. But Fairy Loot announced hardcover collector's editions of the Ember and the Ashes Quartet, and oh my god, I'm so excited. So, you know, an Ember and the Ashes. And these are by Sabata here, obviously. I haven't read these yet. I'm super excited to. I was literally waiting for matching editions. A Torch Against the Night. Just so pretty. A Reaper at the Gates. And A Sky Beyond the Storm. I love these. I'm so happy about them. So happy about them. I cannot wait to read them. I've also got just a bunch, I mean, everything else I'm about to like show you is all fantasy. So, or I mean like in this little like bookcase pile. I'm gonna go to the next one in a moment, but a lot of YA fantasy because I have had the urge to read YA fantasy lately. And I've had no time, but that's what I've like been in the mood for. So I have actually, and this was one of my most anticipated books of the year and I haven't read it yet. So slap on the wrist, right? But I have 2 copies of it. A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. This is the American hardcover and this is the Illumicrate / UK hardcover. Love this cover, first of all. Fucking one of my favorite covers. And it's queer. I can't wait to read it. Okay? I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read it. It's an urban fantasy. God, I want to read it so bad. Then one that I honestly, I'll probably read it, but I have less interest is Bonecryer's Dawn. I just was sort of underwhelmed with book 1. This cover is really pretty. It is the Fairy Loot edition because I wanted it to match. I will probably read it. Might someday unhaul these books. They're very pretty, but I don't know if that's worth keeping on my shelf. But this is by Catherine Purdy. This is one that I'm super excited to get to, and that is The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Hennig. I'm sorry, not Hennig. It is a homage retelling of The Princess Bride, and that's all I needed to hear. Then we have A Trial of Sorcerers by Elisa Kova. I read the first book in the Eyre Awaken series years and years ago and loved it. It was one of my favorites that year. And I just have never picked up anything else that she's written. I do want to go back and read the entire Eyre Awaken series, but I also heard this is a good jumping on point to her books. It's set in the shared world of like Eyre Awakens, but it's a good starting place. And I thought I kind of want to keep current with the series. So yes, I picked up A Trial of Sorcerers and it's in hardcover, which I really like. And then these two I got from Fae Crate. They're Fae Crate special editions. This is The Maiden Ship and The Lion of the Sea. I I don't know too much about these. I've seen some really good reviews. I'm really vibing with the gilded edges, and the underneath is just a stunner. So, you know what? I jumped on it way back when pre-order time was, and I'm really happy I did. I think I'm going to enjoy these, especially this summer. They feel like they're going to be good summer reads, as does Trial of Sorcerers. So then we have some adult fantasy, and most of these are one series that were a super great find. But before we get to that, I picked up The Bone Shard's Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This was Barnes & Noble Pick of the Month, which is one of the reasons I bought it now, and one of the reasons I bought it in paperback, because otherwise I probably would have bought it in hardcover. But all the same, I'm excited to read it. It sounds really good. The cover is gorgeous. Book 2 comes out soon, so that's pretty cool. And I've heard really, really, really good things about this series, so I need to read it. And this is part of one of my favorite series. I got it because I've never read this book in the series, and I kind of want to go back and reread them, and that is The Magician's Land, the final book in the Magician series by Lev Grossman. If you've not given these books a try, I heartily think you should. And finally, I went to Half Price Books. Or not finally, but finally for like this pile. I know I keep like qualifying that, but like partly reminding myself as well. I went to Half Price Books, and with the intention to sell some books, and I did, and I made like okay money. This entire series was there, minus the first book, which I already owned, in the editions I was going to buy them in. And so of course I bought them. It was a great price to get them at. And now I have the whole series. And that series is the Temeraire series by Naomi Novik. So I have Throne of Jade, Black Powder War, Empire of Ivory, Victory of Eagles, Tongues of Serpents, Crucible of Gold, Blood of Tyrants, and League of Dragons. I'm so happy I have this entire series, and no idea when I'm going to have time to sit down and read it, but they're here. I have them. So that's exciting. Alright, so I'm going to put these away and go grab the next pile of books. A lot of the next ones I think are going to be classics, so that's exciting. Okay, so based on what time it is, this is going to be the last like chunk of books I do, and then when I'm back I'll be wearing something different because it will be tomorrow. So just heads up. But yes, I kind of lied. There are a lot of classics in this portion, but there's also some like not typically books I would read, in which I mean I actually have a couple mystery thrillers, which is not a genre I normally go to, but it is one I wanted to try this year. Haven't yet, but I still want to. And I subscribe to Goldsboro Book Club, both the sci-fi one and the regular one, and they send a lot of crime and thriller and mystery. So I have 3 books from them. I have Tall Bones. This is by Anna Bailey. Look at the stained edges, and I think, yeah, so it's got like the words, but it reveals that. It's very cool. I will read it at some point. I will read it at some point. I also got The Art of Death, which sounds very creepy, and actually for some reason gives me like Hannibal mystery type vibes to it, like the show. So yes, and this is by David Fennell. And then the final one of that is we have Hinton Hollow Death Trip by Will Carver, which is I think in the middle of a series, but it's written very interestingly. I'm very, very curious about this one. Then we've got some romance, another genre that is something I've been trying this year. If you've watched any of my reading vlogs, you've probably seen me, you know, doing the Bridgerton books, and most of these are Bridgerton books, and I'm not loving them. But we have The Viscount Who Loved Me, An Offer from a Gentleman, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, When He Was Wicked, It's in His Kiss, and On the Way to the Wedding. It's been a long series, and I'm just past the halfway point, and it's getting to me, y'all. It's getting to me. It's not great. But what is great, I got an early copy thanks to work. It was sent by the publisher. One Last Stop by Casey McQuistion. This is my next read. I am going to continue putting Shadow of the Gods on hold to read this one because I am so excited. And I also told a coworker they could borrow it after me because I'm just like, cannot wait. It is a finished copy. I'm probably just going to give it to that coworker though and buy a copy because why not? I'm so excited. Time traveling sapphics. That's all I need in life. Alright, and now classics. I have 2 new cloth bounds. I got Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice. Barnes & Noble is carrying them more regularly now, so it was easy for me to be like, I guess I need that. I guess I bought a book to do, you know, kind of situation. Okay, I'm Alright, then we got The Lost Spells by Robert Mcfarlane and Jackie Morris. Once again, if you watch any of my reading vlogs, you saw that I went through this and absolutely adored it and thought it was fantastic and fully recommend it, especially if you're looking to gift a book of poetry. This one's stunning. Then we have 2 Calvinos. I read If on a Winter's Night a Traveler back in February, and I loved it so much. So I had to pick up the American edition because yes, I'm a collector and I like the UK covers more, but I think this one is more actually relevant to the story itself. And I ended up also picking up Invisible Cities, which is his other really well-known one. So I hope to read this really soon. It's going to be a quick read when I do. I also picked up, because I've never read this and I actually didn't own a copy, To Kill a Mockingbird. This is the Penguin Vintage Edition just because I wanted it to match with the red spine on my shelf. I'm hoping to read this soon. I also got part of the Penguin Modern Classic series, the Yasunari Kawabata's Snow Country. I really want to read it. It's short. I think it'll be a nice quick read when I do. Then a book that I recently reread, and rereading it gave me so much anxiety, but that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I bought it in this edition because like it is the perfect edition to read this book in, and I really wanted to reread it and add it to my collection, so I did, and I reread it like as soon as it came, and it was still really, really good, but I have such different thoughts on it now that I'm like an adult. And we have Tail Chaser Song by Tad Williams. This is Tad Williams' first book. It is a fantasy following a cat, and I loved the Tad Williams books I have read this year, so I really hope to read Tail Chaser Song sooner than later. Okay, we're back, and it's the next day. Like I said, I think I am going to turn the overhead light on, and I have a special guest because Tank is here, and you're probably going to hear him, but I really wanted to... Oh, no. You're probably going to hear him because I wanted... No, Tank. Hey. I really wanted to spend time with him, but I am going to have to keep him from chewing things like the wires, so I'll be back in just a sec. Alright, I don't want to jinx it, but he's a bit calmer now, so let's get into it. Some more classics. These are from my last two shelves. I did not realize how many things I had added to those shelves this season. It's a lot. Can You Forgive Her by Anthony Trollope. This is the first in Palliser series, I believe it's called. I'm excited for this one. I've heard it's a little hard to get through if you're not super familiar with the British legal system / government, but I'm excited. I plan to fully annotate this one. That's why I got it as the Oxford, because I want to like annotate. I want one that's like nice and floppy and a lay open and will be annotatable. So I'm excited about that. Similarly, I also got the Oxford edition of Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, again, so I can annotate it. I really, really want to read this book. It's high on my list, and I want to be able to just like involve myself with the text. And speaking of Tolstoy, about one of the loveliest editions of War and Peace out there, this is the Penguin Vintage Classics, the Russian series. They also have Anna Karenina in this edition, and I would like to get a matching one as well as the rest of the series. It's just so pretty. It's huge. It's massive. I love it. I just need to read this book. Another vintage penguin that I got is part of the Japanese series, and this is The Sailor Who Fell from Greece from the Sea by Yukio Mishima. Really pretty. I kind of hate how they're different sizes. But it's still really lovely, and this is like a really nice quality book. Like it'll be really, really nice to read this, I think, because of the quality. So I'm excited about that. It feels like it's gonna be a good summer book. Also picked up The Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I will be reading this soon, 100% soon. Another one 100% I'll be reading soon is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. This is Anne's only book, if I remember correctly, that Anne wrote. Oh no, she also wrote Agnes Grey. Okay. This is part of the English Modern Library Classics edition. And another Bronte book, we have Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I love this edition. It's like the Modern Library Torchbearers. I think it's so pretty. I would love to get all of the books in this. I think they're all, you know, like torchbearers sort of authors, like a lot of women, people of color, I believe, queer writers. Yeah, so. Then we have two Hemingways. This is going to be a summer where I try to read a lot of Hemingway. We have The Old Man and the Sea, which I can't believe I didn't own before this, and To Have and Have Not. I really like these editions. I don't think you can get as many of his books in these editions as you used to be able to, which is a shame because I really like these editions. They're really simple, understated. I also, because I cannot stop myself, I got another copy of Pride and Prejudice. This is the Penguin Drop Caps edition. I thought these were so ugly when I saw them online, but we got some in the store and I love the size of them. I love that they've got stained edges and I actually think they're really cute. The font is a little blah for me, but honestly, I bought it as part of a collection, like for collecting reasons. And speaking of Jane Austen, I also picked up some of the Barnes & Noble signature editions of her books. So, Northanger Abbey, Pride and Prejudice, Persuasion, Emma, and Sense and Sensibility. I did order Mansfield Park. It's just not been printed yet, so a little early. And another Barnes & Noble Signature Classics edition that I picked up was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Yes, it's been ages since I've read this one. I also picked up... No chewing on yet. No chewing on the book. I also picked up the first Steinbeck I've ever owned. Although I have read Of Mice and Men, that was years and years ago, and I really want to read Steinbeck. But I picked up Travels with Charlie. This is a non-fiction account of his trip through the country with his dog Charlie. And I don't know, I really want to take a long train ride and just read this. I think it's going to be a nice, quick little read. No. He's trying to chew the books. I also got a couple NYRBs, and I picked up Beware of Pity by Stefan Zweig, Abigail by Magda Sazbo, which I plan on reading soon. It's got dark academia vibes to it, so I'm super into that. And The Summer Book by Tove Jansson, and yes, I will be reading this summer. Tove Jansson is the creator of Women's. Now kind of going into sci-fi and fantasy-esque classic types, we have 1 Billion Years to the End of the World by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. This is part of the Penguin classic science fiction series, which I adore. I think they're really, really nice looking with the purple spines and everything. Yes. Lud in the Mist by Hope Mirrlees. You just want to chew the bookies. You cannot. Chew your toy. This is an account of a traveler account of a city, town that's kind of on the bridge between fairy and the real world, and things are happening, and I really want to read this. I also got Jane Wolfe's The Book of the New Sun, Volume 1, Shadow and Claw. I want to read this because there are so many lovely editions of this series, and if I like it, I'll be able to buy those kind of situation. I don't know when I'm going to get to them, though. City of Saints and Madmen by Jeff Vandermeer. This is the first book in, his shared world of, is it called Shriek? No, Ambergris. Ambergris. Shriek is a different book in the series. So this is a compendium of short stories, I believe. Maybe not. Not 100% sure. I'm really excited to read this one. It's got weird fantasy and cyberpunk vibes to it. We also have Thomas the Rhymer by Ellen Kushner. And I want to read this so bad. It's just so... and then we have Grendel by John Gardner. I've actually read about half of this for a class one time, but we didn't read the whole thing because we just didn't have time, and I look forward to actually going through it. Now we have Titus Groan and Gormenghast by Mervyn Peake. I started reading Titus Groan. It was a little too dense for me, so I had to put it down. I am planning to pick it up when I can actually dedicate more mind space to it, but I don't 100% know when that is going to be. Then we have The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the anniversary edition that's illustrated by Chris Riddell. Look at that. It's very, very cool book, and it's a hardcover. You know what, the end pages are cool. I'll show you that. And then on that trip, when I went to Half Price Books, I also picked up this awesome box set of, I think this was 2 editions ago, of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. So I will show you those covers because they're very cool. So we have Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. And if you can see, they line up in this really neat way. And yes, I just love them. Oh, I've just noticed, I think there's a bookmark in this one. Yeah, someone left a bookmark on page 21 of Life, the Universe, and Everything. Which, coincidentally, after that book, it doesn't look like they were read. So, but they're in pretty good condition. I think they're lovely. I had to add them to my collection because, yes, wasn't going to pass up this opportunity. Alright, then we have some fantasy. No chewing. The Light of the Midnight Stars by Rena Rossner. This is actually an ARC, and I fully intended to write a review of it, but I just haven't had the opportunity to. It was okay. I will definitely talk more about it in my wrap-up, especially if I don't get to a review. The Unbroken by Cl Clarke. This is the Illumicrate edition. It's got stained edges. I am eager to read this one, but I don't 100% know if it'll be anytime soon. This is the Goldsboro edition of The Absolute Book by Elizabeth Knox. I'm so very excited for this one. Look at these edges. It was compared to American Gods. Lainey Taylor is tagged on the back as saying it was a mind-blowing. This is the first page. I can't wait to get to this one. I'm just absolutely ready. Alright, then another Goldsboro. We have The Shadow in the Glass by J.J.A. Harwood. Is that is it? Yeah, J.J.A. Harwood. This one I know nothing about, but it's very pretty, so I'm incredibly excited for it. Pretty dang excited for it. I mean, I could say that about literally every book in this pile. I'm not gonna lie. Then we have Sister Song by Lucy Holland, and I've heard this is good for fans of Cersei, so I hope that's the case and not just like another them being like, oh yes, this is good for fans of whatever, you know, kind of situation. But Sister Song, super excited about it. And then this one literally just came in The Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland. This is the Illumicrate edition. I was super excited before I found out this was going to be the Illumicrate book. Like, I was going to pre-order it, but then I found out it was going to be a Illumicrate book, and I was like, well, even better. And I'm got super high hopes for that one. And the last little pile of books. So we're going to end on the queer ones. So I picked up Late Migrations by Margaret Renkl. This is a nonfiction essayette book. I do like essays a little bit, and I think I'm going to start reading this one after I finish the Book of Delights, which I haven't picked up in a couple days just because I haven't had the opportunity. But Late Migrations. And Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress. This is by Dai Ciji. This is amazing. I did read it. I did tab it. You're probably going to see it in another video that I'm thinking about doing. But I know I'm definitely going to talk about my wrap up. But this book was freaking amazing. Just so good. It is funny and sad and everything in between. It is about two boys who are sent to be re-educated during China's Cultural Revolution, and they basically get their hands on some Western books, and it's mostly about growing up in some ways. And the ending left me feeling kind of odd at first, but the more time I sit on it, the more I'm like, actually, I think that was a great ending. And now some queer books. We have Sweet and Bitter Magic by Adrian Tooley. We have First Become Ashes by K.M. Spara, and definitely check out, I will link my reading vlog for this. I really enjoyed it. It was so good. Bursting at the seams with queer characters, but also you can look at it as really great meta investigation on the nature of really traditional quest storylines and also trauma healing. So good book. And then one book that I picked up 100% because I saw it recommended on TikTok, and this is the first book that TikTok ever made me buy. It was tagged as a retelling of The Little Mermaid from Eric's point of view, but make it gay, and that is In Deeper Waters. I am hoping to read this summer. I know I said that about a lot of books, but it's giving me summer vibes. So that is my book haul for the spring. There were a lot more than I thought there were. Yeah. I'm so excited for all of these books. I do think I need to slow down a little bit on buying just so I can actually read, but honestly, I haven't had that much time to read lately, so I've been buying, which is the next best thing. But I'm going to go put all the rest of these away, which is going to take me a little bit. I'm going to sit down with my dog and try to keep him entertained because now he's going back to trying to chew my books. But thank you for coming by. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying warm if it is cold where you're at, and I hope you're staying comfortable if it is warm where you are at. But most of all, I hope you're reading a wonderful book. I'll see you next week. Bye.